topics that I mentioned now. Let's just go through our usual stuff. So best performance. I'll give you a couple options. You pick one.
Fernando Alonso.
There's Alonso here, but also,
Alonso.
right, so I've got Ocon finishing 5th, Stroll finishing 6th ahead of loads of people, and then Lewis, I guess.
Fernando Alonso.
Thing just because it's
Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, I can't
Bro,
really argue.
he's on the podium. You
that.
can't say anything about that.
So since
he's on the podium ahead of a Mercedes, a Red Bull in a track where they had like significant performance difference.
Yeah, the Alpine pace came out of nowhere as well this weekend. But in
I
general,
think it's
very
just,
well.
I think like you saw how easy it was to overtake the Alpine when you're a Red Bull. But I think it's just Fernando built a gap that kind of left him a bit. He was lucky a bit with the late DSG. But realistically, Perez would not have reached him.
Yeah,
he would have needed.
He was like 2 seconds behind him.
No. That's after that's at the end. No, he was 14 seconds behind him with 5 laps to go.
But at the end, like when they crossed the line, I think the gap was 2 seconds, the VSC was a decent amount of time.
No.
I feel like he might have done. All he needed was
Something's
one
wrong
go down
with
the
your
front
numbers.
straight.
Your numbers are wrong.
I don't know about that. I can find the gap at the end. But anyway, so do you reckon? So this was his 98th career podium. Do you reckon you can hit 100?
Yeah.
You reckon you could?
Because he's
Even
racing
in
for
an Alpine.
He's racing for a year or 2 more. 2 more years or a year more.
I think it's 1 more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he can get 2 podiums. This is on my hope of kind of getting closer racing from next year.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, if next
they are one of the teams that have kind of binned off this year, and they're looking forward to, because the whole point of Alpine was the whole point of Alpine was the new regulations. That's why they rebranded. That's why they did all this stuff.
It's a 3 second gap.
Yeah. 3
That's
seconds.
that's still like.
Bro, and the VSC was a decent amount of time though.
Like
actually, to be fair, he might have. Well, we don't know.
No, he would have managed to cut him off, I think.
Yeah, but you've got to remember under the VSC, you've got to save his tyres.
Yeah, that's 1 point. That is 1 point.
Guess we'll never know. Right. Next.
Best performance, Fernando, by far. Worst performance,
I put, so the ones I've put as talking points, Vettel, he said he got finessed at the start to do with Bottas and all this stuff. So he went down to almost last. And a good recovery drive to P10, but because Stroll finished 6th, he was expecting better. We've got
I think
and Ricciardo, who was saving fuel for no reason pretty much the whole race, instead of saving fuel, losing 2 seconds a lap sometimes. Just not. I say McLaren. I should put McLaren here as well.
Daniel Ricciardo is just confusing. Like when you look back at why they lost the champion, like 3rd to Ferrari. Ferrari is 3rd. I think it's all to blame on Ricciardo.
I mean, they haven't been.
Lando,
been a bit unlucky.
you can't blame. Like Lando has been off the past few races, but just like you look at Daniel and Daniel is so far behind him. Like Lando is ahead both Ferrari drivers in terms of points.
They've actually closed in on him, I can't believe it.
No,
he could actually
they've closed in on him.
He's ahead of them, yeah, I know.
But where's Daniel? Daniel's like, I swear, like 50 points behind, or like 30 points
probably behind. At this point. But like, so in the last, I saw a stat. They've got 4...
No, standings and then driver standings.
They got 4 points in the last 3 races. So in the entire triple header, they equaled, what's his name? They equaled Kimi on points.
Yeah.
4 points in the last 3 races for the third best car is insane. Like, that's embarrassing, to be honest. So it's no surprise you wouldn't expect this, but Ferrari just pulled out.
Lando is still ahead of
Lando was in the conversation for finishing 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. He's now 1 point ahead of Leclerc.
Look, third was off the table.
He's like 50 ahead of Daniel, yeah. You don't even know.
He's 50, no, he's like 40.
48,
yeah. But where is Daniel in comparison to the 2 Ferraris? The 2 Ferraris are each like 50 points ahead.
40 for one, and then, yeah, pretty much.
Where is he? This is the guy who's like, I'm going to McLaren to win a championship. No, you know.
It's going to be tough for him. But to be fair, this race I wouldn't say it was his fault. He was told to save fuel a mad amount. Like, it was just unlucky.
If he doesn't perform next year, I think McLaren should let him go.
Well, they could replace him with Gasly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Well,
Pierre and Lando in one team at McLaren with a good car is going to be...
That will definitely rival Ferrari. Team. That's going to be a very good thing to see.
Yeah, and I don't think like Lando and Gasly get along quite well. They're both quite chill and stuff.
Gasly's quickly becoming my second favourite driver.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot of kind of issues in that team. As opposed to say like it's a chill team, like Ferrari is a chill team. But I think Ferrari is a chill team because Charles is ahead of Sainz.
Yeah. Yeah,
but then
their management can't handle
with the what
stuff.
Sainz has done this year, he's like 2-3 points behind him. I
He's
think
like 5 now, but the gap is very small. Like, they were only 2 seconds apart at the end of this race.
No, but he's performing so much better than anyone. He's 1 point. Is it? No, he's 5 points. 7 points behind.
6.5.
He's 6.5 points behind, and no one expected that. Like, realistically, and you think about it, you thought Sainz was going to be like 20 points behind him.
Comparing him to the people who have moved teams or have got new
the
machinery, Daniel, Sonoda, all the rest of them. Yeah,
Sergio.
Perez, yeah. Like,
He's not. Sainz has not had that one race where he's performed so badly that, like, you look at Charles, and Charles has performed equally as badly. But Perez has had races where, like, Silverstone, where was he? I don't know where he was.
You just forget.
No, like Max is at the top. He's actually realistically has the best car in the grid.
Yeah.
And Sergio is so far back. You don't know where the guy is.
You really hate Sergio with a passion, don't you?
No, I actually really like Sergio Perez.
He's a likable guy.
But his performances this year are so bad that you just like. I never wanted him to leave a midfield team because he's that one driver that will always drag that car to where it should never be.
Yeah.
In a top team, he's just, especially Red Bull, he's not going to fit in. He's okay. He's good at doing the second driver part, but he's never like. Realistically, Red Bull should have won the constructors by now. If they had a second reliable driver,
they probably would have. They would have taken points off Lewis as well. Yeah. The more times he finishes ahead of Lewis, the more points lost. We'll see. But so out of fear of doing all this stuff, I'm gonna. Right, we're just gonna skip to. Shall we do our predictions yet? No, hold on. What I'm gonna do instead. Well, another team that has been losing points. AlphaTauri got no points this weekend. Alpine got 25 because of
I think they guaranteed their position
because of Alonso and Ocon. They have essentially secured P5 in the constructors, which is very big for them. And honestly, you just got to ask yourself. I don't want to talk about Sonoda too much, but they had no pace. Like, it was very.
No. Gasly showed they had no pace.
Yeah.
Like, Gasly is kind of my meter for the team. like Lando's my meter for McLaren. If Lando's performing off, then the car maybe is not so great at this track. Which is one thing that McLaren have to address for next year is they've had tracks where they've been incredibly quick. Like Monza, they were mad. Like, their pace was incredible. And then they've gone to other tracks like Zandvoort, Qatar and stuff. And their performance was abysmal. Like, they're nowhere close. Like, Ferrari are a bit more consistent in that like their performance doesn't yo-yo as much.
Yeah, they're like at least 6th and 7th.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
But
McLaren, they have this issue. I don't think, like, if they're seriously thinking about going on and fighting for championships, they can't have this yo-yo effect of like. I have tracks. You have tracks where maybe you're not the best car in the grid, but you're second, you're third best car. You're not like fighting for barely in the points.
Yeah, it's embarrassing for them. Like 4 points in 3 races, like we said. There's no way you can win a constructors doing that kind of stuff.
There's no way you can come third in the constructors doing that stuff.
I mean, yeah, I guess they've lost their chance now. So, got another tweet here, I guess. These are just minor talking points. I've got quite a few of them. Right. With so much data available to the stewards, I don't see why there isn't a tool created that at least recommends a penalty based on previous incidents. Ooh. So, talking about the whole consistency and stuff. The reply, I just found kind of funny. It says, you mean like a company that creates algorithms that use billions of data points in order to generate predictions and comparisons? That would be really useful to the stewards, but they probably just use it to flash up meaningless garbage on the TV. Do you reckon AWS could actually help with the penalties?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll leave it for another time. But yes, I would like AWS consistent penalty graphics, well, not graphics, but helping the stewards, is actually a very interesting thing. Pinning it through double yellows is just hard racing. I mean, there it is. Pinning it through double yellows is just hard racing.
You know, the only point I can actually think of one thing where there was a massive crash, or it looked like a massive crash, and one driver did not lift, was Kimi in Spa when he was at McLaren.
Oh.
And there's this massive.
Oh yes, this should be your thing of the weekend from the start.
And he
bring
does
it back
not
to here.
lift. He does.
I'm putting this in the description. This is going in the description of the YouTube. You're right. Like Eau Rouge, everyone's been talking about how dangerous it is.
And he just goes to he does not.
Straight through the smoke. It's insane. It's so mad. Yeah, that is, honestly, I will link that. That is a very good video. Right, and obviously L Plan. Alonso and L Plan was another thing this week. It's not really going to show, but L Plan was essentially... They've compared it to Ferrari's master plan. So I don't know if you've seen, but Mattia Binotto has been basically memed because of his master plan, essentially trying to get Charles Leclerc to a world championship. I think this happened at Vettel as well. And it's been compared to Alonso this week with L plan. His plan to, I think he said he tried to win the race.
Yeah,
his idea was to dive down the inside of Lewis and lead into turn 1, but he ended up with the podium. So we've got the master plan, 2 drivers named Charles in different languages, no F1 champions, no race wins. They're unnoticed in general. And, I'm going to skip that one. Ongoing awful form, and then don't even have the best Spanish driver, versus the Chad L plan, Esteban and Fernando, different names. We've got Alonso, the champion, 1 race win. They're recognised by Fernando and Alpine, as well as Spanish TV, and what else is there? They haven't started yet. They've got results already, and the best driver in history, according to, well, the account is Alpine F1 updates, so you can kind of
Fernando
tell.
is the best driver in history.
I'm not
only after Senna. Senna is...
I forgot about this one. You need to see the picture for this to work. Oh yes, there we go. That's the train guy. If you've been on TikTok recently, you know that's the train guy. It's Alonso going through the sparks from Bottas, another fearless moment. But yeah, you love to see it.
No, but that's also dangerous. That's one of the things that you can talk about. The tires were dangerous.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, the sparks. Like when I think Schumacher's front wing went under his car, and that's another one where like